Hi, I'm Bryan Hartson, and welcome to the Bryan Hartson Show. I've got a great packed 30 minutes for you today, and today my guest is Emmy Trudeau. She's the founder of Trinity Transformations, a company devoted to helping the anxious overachiever release the shame and guilt that they've been hanging on to surrounding their high-functioning depression and or anxiety. It's going to be an amazing show today, ladies and gentlemen. Emmy struggled with high-functioning depression for years and developed a robust toolbox that allowed her to stop feeling like she was treading water and eventually truly thrive. She now brings all the tools and strategies she's learned to the world through her speaking and coaching. Now, Emmy is an international speaker, transformational coach, fitness instructor, an elementary teacher who gives people the tools to go from just thriving, just surviving, to thriving. And she's appeared as a speaker at the Girl It's Your Life Tour, the Her Story, Women's Global Empowerment Online Summit, and spoken on numerous podcasts and virtual events. She is a facilitator of group fitness classes and coaches clients one-on-one, including her coaching work on the pilot show, Peace Talks. Really interested to hear more about that. Emmy is a partner and participant in the upcoming docu-series TV show, 4 Days to Save the World. Wow. Emmy speaks about the growth mindset, high-functioning depression, and anxiety, and reducing stress while increasing joy to the community and corporate groups. Her pillar in life and businesses are joy, gratitude, and self-love. And with that, I would like to thank you, Amy, for joining us on the Bryan Hartson Show today. How are you?
I am great. And it clearly is going to be a wonderful day because you elevated me. Well, I don't know. It could be an elevation or a demotion, depending on how you politically ride. You said my name was Emmy Trudeau. I am not a famous Trudeau. I'm simply a Rousseau, but I'm great. I'm great.
Wow. We talked about it first a minute ago. I'm like, oh, I've got that one nailed down. My apologies for that.
That's so good. I love it. I love it. Famous now.
So, Emmy, tell us about what's going on in your life right now. What got you to here?
Well, what's going on in my life right now is a lot of slowing down. And that is something that was a really tough lesson for me a tough pill to swallow, I guess. I was always that mom who had it all together from actually before mom. As a high school student, I was the one who had it all together, got the good grades, had the good friends, part of the social justice council. I was doing it all. And everybody thought, well, she's got the perfect life. And I had the perfect family and everything was so perfect. Unfortunately, inside, I didn't feel so perfect. I felt like I was drowning, as you read. And when I was finally diagnosed with the depressive disorder, I was like, oh, and at the time I thought, oh, well, now I know what's wrong with me. Now it's like, I'm almost ashamed to think that's how I thought, but I really knew there was something different. I needed help for the longest while, but nobody believed it because I really was so high functioning. So as I learned more about what high functioning depression was, and I thought, okay, what else can I do other than just take meds to help me? And actually my psychiatrist mentioned meditation. Every time he'd say, are you meditating? And of course I said, yes, I'm meditating. He's like, I meditate twice a day, blah, 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 this, and this. And I had tried meditation. Like I really tried it. I'm a good student. You tell me try this, I am on it. It was not working for me. And so I eventually just gave up. I thought, I can't do meditation. But luckily I came upon an amazing woman who said, well, why don't you try silent meditation? And I thought, okay, now like, who's the one that needs some help here? Because I can't even do guided meditation when they're telling me what to think about. I can't calm this monkey mind. How am I going to do that when I do a silent meditation and I'm alone with my thoughts? But sure enough, I believed in her and I tried it and it changed my life. Like it just transformed my life. And from there, I started to get some other tools and strategies, and I'm a natural sharer. So once I was thriving and feeling amazing, I just naturally shared things that worked with other people that were saying they were struggling with the same thing. And I found that the more I came out about my struggles and about things that worked, the more it gave other people permission to say, oh, like I'm also a professional and I'm not okay. And you're saying it's okay not to be okay. And it just gave people permission. And so I fell in love with that and, started to do it professionally. So here we are today.
So tell me a little bit more about silent meditation. It sounds intriguing.
Silent meditation is so neat because especially at the beginning, you have to start, if you're not used to meditation or you're not good at meditation, then you have to start slow, I found, because it really 1 minute seems like you've been sitting in silence for 7. But just like any other muscle, if you just build up your endurance muscle by practicing and practicing, and it really is just tuning into yourself, you'll find, especially if you do have a monkey mind like I do, that there's thoughts all around at the beginning. But as you keep just breathing and doing nothing but breathing, really, and focusing on your inner self, then you start to have so much clarity, so much calm, focus. It's actually incredible. I actually just recently, a couple months ago, I read a book called Stress Less, Accomplish More by Emily Fletcher. And she has her whole Ziva meditation technique. And that's what got me meditating twice a day, because she talked about the increased focus. So she really talks about meditating for performers, high performers, which I do consider myself. And I thought, oh, well, if once a day has been going well, then let me try twice a day. And it really is amazing how you can be feeling overwhelmed or tired or anxious. And then you meditate for 15 minutes and all of a sudden you feel calm and grounded and focused. And I don't need a nap anymore most afternoons. Whereas before I was like dragging at that 2-3 o'clock time. I was dragging. But now I just meditate and most days I'm rejuvenated.
Okay. And so meditating for you just twice a day, right?
Yes.
It really made the difference. And so we're talking about high stress, people with just their brains just go crazy, right? But it's not just business people. What about parents? What about moms who have their children, especially we're coming luckily down to the backside of a pandemic. And I'm going to stray over here I'm going to stray just a little bit over here, take us out of the business world. And I'll pop us back in there. But I want to talk for a second about the pandemic today. And people are struggling. Emmy, people are struggling a lot with just making it through the day. You being a teacher, elementary, correct?
Yes.
I did get something right today. So elementary teaching, you absolutely know what it's like to deal with the toddler. But you've been teaching for years. What about the mom and the dads, I want to say dads too, that gave their kids to the school for half of the day? No longer have that. They've got to deal with them. What are some tools that they could use right now to help with silent meditation to get the child asleep? And also, I'm going to throw something else in here. The parent that takes the toddler and puts the toddler to sleep so that the mother or father can go do work.
Yeah. Well, that's the reality, right? From, I've taught from kindergarten up to grade 4, and I see it's the same. It doesn't matter. I've had toddlers and my niece and nephew. So anywhere from, toddler age up to all the way through elementary. And I have a 14-year-old as my youngest. So I see it. First of all, I love that you brought it back to the kids, because kids really can get mindfulness and meditation. And I did it in my classrooms when I had an actual classroom. And I found they're more open to it than most adults. And because their brains are still like sponges and open, it's a great time to introduce it to your kids. There's so many amazing programs out there that you can find that are free or really affordable to meditate with your children. And how wonderful to make it a family activity so that your whole family can see the benefits and feel the benefits of feeling calmer, feeling more better self-regulation skills. It's so awesome. And a way to just focus yourself again. It's fantastic. So it can be in little chunks too. It can be in 5-minute chunks if that's, between classes, or you just notice they're not attending anymore. It can be like that. It can be, there's awesome ones for little kids that involve like using their imagination, that they're an airplane or they're a unicorn flying in the sky or whatever it is. So many cool guided meditations for kids, but you'll find that kids are good with silent meditation too, especially actually the kids who you would think can't do it because maybe they've been diagnosed with ADHD or something else. Just you think, oh, they don't have a good attention span. They're a hyperactive child. They're the active child. They really, really like it. In my experience, the kids that I've taught, those are the ones that are like, that was really great. I felt this, I felt that after. And it's amazing how beneficial they find it. So doing it with your kids, I think is fantastic. But then maybe taking that 5 to 15-minute break in between once you put your kids to bed for a nap, if you do, or if you can get them working independently and you're going to go and do work, take that time to do it for yourself, because it's going to be different if you're guiding your kids through it than if you're just with yourself.
Sure. I see that quite a bit. That's some extremely important news that you just gave. I think that, I'm taking it away from the business aspect of stuff, which is really where I thought I was going to go with you today. And I brought it into current events, and very interesting.
Because so many people are working from home, and they're now not just the mom or the dad, they're the mom or the dad. So they still do the house stuff. They're now the teacher too, because, let's get real. Online teaching is not the same as having a teacher in front of you. And they still have, if they're lucky enough, they still have their full-time job that they, lucky, unlucky. I mean, it's good that people are still employed, but, it's just so many hats to wear. So a lot of people might say, oh, I don't have time for it, right? Because I have all those hats. But Emily Fletcher will tell you, you don't have time not to do it. If you think you don't have time, you don't have time not to do it. And I find that on my busiest days, if I've forgotten, or not forgotten, but decided, oh, I don't have time for that second meditation, huge difference in my day. So I would absolutely recommend that.
That's interesting that you bring that up. And I'm going to take this a little bit over here to the right-hand side, but every Sunday I go to church, right? Or I watch it online because I can't go to church. Hopefully that'll change soon. It's looking better. But I go to church on a Sunday on a regular basis. I also have my devotional time where I spend my time away from the family, the wife, the children. I've got my little campfire outside, and I have my little meditation that I read for 30 minutes. If I can find the time to do that, I should also be able to find the time to heal my body, not just my soul, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Emmy, I am going to take us off to a break real quick. I'm going to pop us back in with some more great stuff to talk about. I do want to point up onto the screen right now, if anybody wants to get in contact with you, have more information, there is your website right there, correct?
That's right.
See, I've gotten two things right so far. And so we will be right back on the other side of this break with Emmy Rousseau. Say it, Emmy.
Rousseau.
Rousseau.
Now
See, now I'm chicken here. I'm chicken. Be right back with you. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Bryan Hartson Show. I am with Emmy Rousseau, and I should get that right. Karate Kid, right?
You got it. You got it. Don't worry. You're good.
Oh my goodness, we'll just have a little fun here. Emmy's been chatting with us about high performance people and things that we can do to sort of fix that. We sort of went off onto a major tangent into the pandemic, and now we can work through some of the pandemic things that's going on. I mean, tell us some more.
Some more. Well, I find that I love that you brought it into, the kids and the parents, but the same thing works. It doesn't matter. Like you said, like, yes, it could be a high performing professional. It could be a CEO. It could be a CFO. It could be an HR professional. It could be a real estate person. It could be anybody, a teacher, a healthcare worker, or it could be someone who is in the hospitality industry. It can be anything because all of us have our own stresses, right? And we don't know what stresses other people. But I find that as a society, we're on that whole, like, the busier we are, it means the more successful we are. The more productive we are, it means the more successful we are. So we get on that hamster wheel of like, go, 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 which is absolutely, I was there, like 2 hands up, I was there. And as I was talking to you about before, as high performers, we do tend to get back on it, right? Even when we slow down, all of a sudden it creeps back up that we're doing a little too much. But if we can be aware of it, and meditation is one of the tools that can help you be aware that, hey, this is not feeling right, then we can catch ourselves before we get to burnout again, which I think is key. Just awareness is one of the keys.
Okay. And so being self-aware of burnout is important. What about also what are some of the signs, the tell signs that somebody can recognize about themselves, saying, "Hey, I'm getting ready to burn out"? And then I want to transition this a little bit over into social media after you give me your thoughts on that.
Okay. So I think for burnout, chronic fatigue, you can sleep a good night's sleep consistently for a week and you still don't feel refreshed. You're not waking up feeling refreshed. That's one of the biggest ones. And sleep is one of the things we often also ditch, right? It's the first thing to ditch.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'll just stay up later, like to 3 a.m. just doing broadcast stuff instead of getting to bed at a decent hour, especially if we're excited about what we're doing, right? We just keep going instead of
Thanks
saying,
for throwing that in there, Emmy. Just
it's
boom,
fine.
home run.
Your wife is going to love me now, so that's good. But instead of saying this is my bedtime, like sticking to a schedule, we do that. But anyway, so one of the signs for sure, fatigue, absolutely. Irritability. If we find that we are all of a sudden being annoyed by things that normally wouldn't annoy us, that can be a definite sign. Sometimes the feeling that you need to do more instead of slowing down, you feel like, oh, I'm not doing enough, I have to do more, can also be a sign of like, no, actually that's not how it is. And we just get a different perception of reality. So that can happen as well. Those are three that come to mind.
All right, now let's do a little transition that we haven't chatted about, but I'm going to transition again into something a little bit different. And I want to talk about social media. And I want to talk about specifically gut reactions on social media and the high performer. I think that our brains work very quickly as high performers. Would you agree?
I do agree wholeheartedly.
Okay. So the good old days before cell phones, some of us remember, before cell phones, you had to go knock on somebody's door to talk with them, drive over to see them, send them an email, send them an email. At least we had emails back then, or you had to send them a letter in the mail, which was more common. And then we got cell phones. And I remember cell phones, when we first got the cell phones, they were huge. I did one of my first broadcasts with a cell phone. I was so excited because this thing was like a backpack. And I'm like, ooh, look what I got. Come talk to us. And then we moved into AOL, which was one of the big ones. And that really kicked in. Gateway was another one. Now here we are where people are watching you and me right now. It's not television. They can choose a channel that they want out of thousands of channels, not just big five. Soccer Saturdays, right? That was big. Now you get all things you can watch. But in the media, social media, we really can react very quickly to a comment on social media that maybe we didn't want to. And I think that I want to get your opinion right now from a perspective of taking a breath, taking a step back. Our minds go boom. We're going to hit this. Is there a way for us to our mind to just shut down for a second and stop before we react? What is some of the things that we can do internally when we're really heated because we read this post about the dog that pooped on the light on the outside of the whatever? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I want to reach out and just yell about it, but I shouldn't because it's going to hurt me in a minute.
Well, that reminds me of a post I did where we had heard here in the Toronto area, our politician had said, like, I came across the news that the lockdown would be extended. Now, here in Toronto, we've essentially been in lockdown for I think it's 425 days now. Like, we really haven't been out of lockdown.
Wow.
So people are getting sick and tired. They're up to here with it. So every time they hear it's going to be extended or it's going to get worse, like it's going to get to a higher level, it just brings people's like right down. So here I am, an educator, and I heard some announcement to that effect. And I was like, are you kidding me again? Like, they said it was only going to be, 6 weeks from Christmas or something. And I was just livid. And I was driving with my daughter and I was thinking, as soon as I get home, I am going to post about this. Like, I've been silent for long enough. Like, it's time to just stand up and say what I think. And I'm raving mad. And then I got home and I was like, no. Remember, once you breathe, you're able to change your mindset. So this little breathing technique is so easy and so powerful. However, you have to practice it when you're not in the moment, because if you only wait to the moment, your body's not going to remember it, right? So this is it. It's super, super fast. You can do it with me, or people watching at home can do it with me. Just simply Let's do it. So if you close your eyes and
do it with you, I'm closing my eyes.
Good. Breathe in for a count of 4 through your nose if you can.
Okay.
And then you're going to breathe out as slowly as you possibly can, imagining that the breath is going through your body, like through your torso, through your legs, over the knees, down the shins, out your feet, as slowly as you possibly can. Almost like a straw going through your body. So let's try it again now that I explained it, because it'll be easier the second time. So here we go, counting in for 4. Breathing in
before
for 4.
we do that, everybody that watches this needs to stop what they're doing unless you're driving or operating heavy equipment. Disclaimer. And let's do this together, everybody. Here we go. I'm ready.
All right, here we go. So close your eyes if you're comfortable, or if you're not, you just look down diagonally at the floor. Breathe in for 4. Breathe out as slowly as you possibly can. How do you feel after just one of those full breaths, Bryan?
I don't know what to do with that much silence. That was great.
Yeah, but you can start that small, right? And you can do 3 of those breaths in a row. You will notice a huge change in your body. And after I did that, my post instead said, I was just about to come on here and rant, and instead I'm going to teach you a breathing technique. This will serve you much better. And that's what I did. And it was so, so helpful. But my breathwork teacher had taught me that, okay, because I said, that's great. But when I want to like lash out, this is not the first thing that comes to mind. So he said, okay, there's a thing, I believe it's called minute timer. I'm not sure, or meditation bell, I think it's called. And it'll remind you hourly or randomly, you can choose to practice something, and you would just practice that breath. And you can do it anywhere. Like, nobody knows you're doing it. So that's what I like.
Except for when you're driving or using heavy material.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just not good.
You can still breathe, but don't be closing your eyes.
All right, Emmy, a couple more minutes with you, but I do want to hit on one other thing, and that is I'm just picking your brain right and left today. If people don't understand what we're talking about right now, They're getting a great wealth of information of free stuff right now on my show because of you. So thank you for that.
Please.
I do want to hit on one more thing from you today on people that when high anxiety people, we like to go to bed. We like to have our phone with us and we turn the lights off because that's the right thing to do. But then we sit on our phone and we still answer emails, don't we? And we
Mhm.
also, well, let's not forget, because when we hear you need to put your work aside, we may be in that transition stage of going from high anxiety into not high anxiety. And how we do it is we put the work email away, but we open up our games and we play games for a few minutes before we go to bed, right? You know where I'm
Mhm.
going with all this, don't you?
Mhm. Mhm.
Take me home on that.
That's a fantastic way to go home, because the one tip I give to everyone is like, okay, if you don't have an evening routine or you don't need an evening routine, you've not felt the need for it, this is the one thing is put your phone out of your bedroom when you sleep. I sometimes put it in the floor on the hallway. It is my alarm clock, but that serves two purposes. One, I have to get up out of bed in the morning. So when I want to just hit the snooze at 5 a.m., no, I got to get up. By the time I've walked the 7 steps, I'm more awake. So that's good. And the second thing is then we're not exposing our eyes to the blue light. We're not feeding our brains with the overload of chemicals. It's so important to put your phone away. And what I would say, it sounds radical, I know, don't even bring your phone into the bedroom. Your bedroom should be a sanctuary for sleep. It really should be a sanctuary for sleep. And if it is that, and we just go there to sleep, once we go in our bedroom, our mind knows, okay, this is my sleep place. I got to start to get ready. But if we bring our phone and we're scrolling through social media or we're playing whatever the latest game is, I don't even know, because I'm more of a social media than a gamer, but it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, scrolling, playing, and we can't, then we get to the next level. Then we got to get to the next level. Then it's keeping our body in the stress response.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's so damaging for us. We think, oh, I'm just chilling, I'm just relaxing. No, you're actually not relaxing. And you're keeping your brain in high alert mode. And that's not what you want when you go to sleep. So that could be part of why you're fatigued too, because if you're bringing your phone to bed with you and you're not giving yourself any screen-free time before bed, some experts recommend up to 3 hours of screen-free time before bed. I
Wow.
find that like an hour is enough. Like I get 3 hours, I can't think about that. But that's what the experts say. So just putting it
Wow.
out there. But yeah, it's incredible what we do to ourselves, really.
It is. I think technology's come to the point where we have to change our mindsets if we want to get better, healthy mentally, physically. If we're healthy mentally, it helps us with getting physically healthy as well, doesn't it?
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I really want to thank you very much for being a part of this show. I think it's been a great opportunity for myself to learn a lot and for my guests to be able to hear some really great information.
Well, thank you for allowing me to share. I'm glad you learned something. I hope that everybody at home learned something, and that, we can make, even if you just take one thing from this, and try that one thing,
Yeah.
that'll be fantastic.
And I think if one person gets help from this, then we've been a success.
Absolutely.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, if you would take a look at my screen right now, your screen, you will see the web address for Emmy to be able to hop on, get more great information from her. I'm really excited with what we've been able to go through today. And I do want to remind you that we do have the Bryan Hartson mugs, and we do have the hats, t-shirts, and what have you at Bryan Hartson, Hartson's Heart.wordpress.com. And we hope that you pop on over there and show your loyalty to the show. I'm Bryan Hartson, and it has been an absolute pleasure to be with you. And we look forward to another great show tomorrow. And we do have quite a packed week, so stay with us and have a great day. Remember, this is the first moment in the rest of your life,